So there was something deep in like Second Chronicles that I learned that I took away from like the first 3 or 4 chapters. So through here we see that God is working through Solomon to build his temple. And it's like, so we see how intentional God is. He's literally laying the foundation with everything that he wants to build. He's using bronze, iron, barley, wheat, all that good stuff. So this stuff is like, it's like the preparing, the behind the scenes process, if you will, of like him preparing the temple for him. So God here is working behind the scenes before he makes the finished product. Because before the finished product can come out, like food, it has to be done behind the scenes. Like, think about it in like the fast food terms. So after we order at the drive-through speaker, we then trust the people to be making the food. We don't see them making the food. That's literally them working behind the scenes for us. We trust them. So if we think about that in the same terms of God and him work behind the scenes when he hides us from somebody or hiding us from the world. Likewise, in our one-on-one seasons with God, he's literally working behind the scenes before he's able to push us out and to like go and serve those people that he called us to serve. So in this moment, if we're able to like reverse engineer and not choose to rush the process, we're able to reverse engineer that process by just staying on the potter's wheel. Because if you choose to rush those people making the food behind the scenes for you, you run the risk of that food coming out uncooked. So you run the risk of it being poisonous. That's a whole word. Because if we come out of our isolation season like not fully cooked, not fully like seasoned with God, we run the risk of coming out with still some type of like toxicity inside of us. And so what that does is, and that too, it results in us coming out poisonous to the people that God needs us to serve. So how can we reach somebody, preach the gospel to them if we rush the process, of the infinite designer? So if the infinite designer, God, was to rush his masterpiece, it will come out undone. But there's grace in that. And the reason why there's grace in that is because even when we're undone, God will still protect us from the things we don't see coming. And so the point that I'm getting at is that when we rush the process, we run the risk of us being in seasons longer than expected. Because that process requires God being able to cook the raw stuff out of you, just like food. Because I personally believe that God would be doing us a disservice if he was to push us out into the world and serve his people with those same toxic traits that we didn't allow him to mold out of us, which would as a result push people further away from the gospel. So in summary, I would just say just trust the process and what God is doing behind the scenes.